Celebrations continue after the King's coronation while our Prime Minister addresses the big questions.
Do you think that New Zealand might become a republic in your lifetime?
I think it will happen eventually.
Another hike in groceries supplier costs and teachers to walk off the job again when and where they'll be striking. Te Māria, I'm Sherry Kinnear and these are the latest New Zealand Herald headlines. The Prime Minister sat down with the BBC's Laura Kuenssberg while in the UK, talking on a number of subjects, including whether New Zealand will eventually become a republic. Chris Hipkins says it'd be nice to have someone in New Zealand be our head of state, but he says that change would raise many constitutional questions and added there hasn't been a groundswell of support for the change.
And so what we have at the moment, it wouldn't be what I would design if we were designing the system from scratch. But actually it's working okay, and there isn't a groundswell of support amongst New Zealanders to ask for change.
Hipkins met with King Charles on Friday during a lunch for Commonwealth realm leaders at Buckingham Palace and says they had a very warm conversation. He says they talked a lot about the recent flooding and cyclones and that recovery, which led to a discussion about climate change. Meanwhile, celebrations are continuing after the King's coronation. Thousands of street parties and lunches have been taking place ahead of this morning's coronation concert. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh and Princess Beatrice and Eugenie have attended coronation big lunches, while the Princess Royal and her husband joined a street party in Swindon. Back here, there's some hope supplier costs to supermarkets will soon show signs of easing. The Infometrics Foodstuffs New Zealand Groceries Supplier Cost Index shows a 10% increase in what suppliers charge supermarkets for goods in April. We've seen increases of 10% or more for the past 6 months. Infometrics principal economist Brad Olsen says this reflects suppliers themselves are facing very high input price pressures.
We're starting to see, I think, some signs of possibly less intense cost pressures. That means that we're hoping those cost increases don't accelerate even further, but they are remaining high for now.
Secondary school teachers are ramping up industrial action this week. Since the start of Term 2, PPTA members haven't been attending meetings outside of school hours. They're also planning to roster different year levels of students home on various days. This week, they're holding rolling strikes where different regions strike at different times. The whole of the South Island will strike tomorrow, the Lower North Island on Wednesday, then the Upper North Island on Thursday. And there's calls for the government to rethink how it allocates road safety money. Waka Kotahi spent $23 million on safety ads last year and has already spent $13 million this year. In 2019, the budget was just $18.4 million. National Party Transport spokesperson Simeon Brown says while money is going to ads, others are missing out. And those are the latest New Zealand Herald headlines. For more stories and to stay up to date, head to nzherald.co.nz. Kia pai te rā. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.